Well, this is going to be the stupidest thing I ever make. So, I had to delay the next episode of the Nine Inch Nails Retrospective just because we had some scheduling conflicts. So, instead, I am making this goofy ass whatever because I am ranking the taste of everybody. Look at this fucking list of people we got here. Look at all these names. Look at all these faces. I just kind of thought this would make for a stupid little fun video because here we've got a tier list. We've got a tier list here. But this is not just a normal hierarchy tier that we've got going on here. This is something different. This is not necessarily ranking someone based on how good or bad levels of variation that we've got going on here. Like that, no, this is not a simple tier list. This is categorizing these fictional and real people that we've got here. We are going to throw them into where I interpret their music taste to align with. And I have very specific categories here. And we're going to go over them real quick so you can get what I'm putting down. Top of the list here has a Rate Your Music account. This is simple. This is somebody with no limits. Every genre, every artist, there's not a thing that this person would say no to. They listen to everything. They buy albums on Bandcamp. They collect vinyl. They collect CDs. These guys are the peak of having no life. Naturally, this is probably the tier that we ourselves would go into. Down, one tier, collects vinyl. This is simple. This is just, you're a music nerd. You don't limit yourself. You collect vinyl. You listen to vinyl. Probably a little pretentious about it, maybe a little bit, a little tiny bit. And then below that, collects but does not listen to vinyl. They support artists, which is cool. You know, they have a lot of the same benefits as the above tier, but we all know there's the guy who collects the vinyl but does not actually listen to it. Maybe they don't even own a record player. They might not. Below this, Bleep Bloop. This is somebody who listens to Autechre. This is somebody who listens to Aphex Twin, electronic music, EDM even. This is somebody who is enough of a music nerd to say that they don't listen to all that other shit, but they listen to basically the most autistic music imaginable. Naturally, I have some overlap here. Below that, we have Hip Hop Head. Self-explanatory, pretty much. Somebody who listens to a lot of hip hop, all eras. Nobody's discriminating. I'm trying to keep it kind of general here, but hip hop heads tend to have a pretty decent knowledge of like the musical history, the lineage of the artist that they listen to, that kind of stuff. Below that, we have goth emo. I know a lot of people are going to get upset over the fact that these are in the same place, but listen. Goth and emo is not the same thing, but the overlap in terms of taste in music, borderline identical. It is what it is. Below that, we have metalhead and or stoner. Again, not necessarily the same thing, but for all intents and purposes of trying to keep everything as organized as possible and not having 8,000 of these fucking categories, this is basically in the same place. You know how they dress, you know how they act. They listen to mostly these two things. Like the overlap between people who listen to 80s thrash and people who listen to like, I don't know, Caius. It's a big overlap, you know? Below that, we have parenthetical crust punk. Different enough from some of these other categories, and crust punk is a little bit more, a little more off the beaten path, maybe a little bit more out there, but like, this is a distinct area that stands away from something like metalheads and stoners. Below that, we have spiritual or literal boomer, which is not necessarily bad, but there is a huge umbrella of music that fits under this. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, boomer rock, that kind of thing. It's just like if you kind of fit into this generalized category, it's music of days past, really. Just kind of older music, generally speaking, maybe not specifically oriented around one genre, probably more oriented around something a bit more popular. After that, we have country music fan, not racist. This might go back a little bit further. You listen to your Willie Nelsons, your Hank Williams Jr.'s, that kind of shit. Country music fan, racist. You probably only listen to this genre after 9/11. Below that, owns K-pop merch. This is not derogatory. I am marrying a woman who owns K-pop merch. However, still a very specific kind of music listener. Below that, we have pop music stan. These are the people who, they might dabble in the top 40 a little bit, but primarily they're the people who know everything about their specific pop girlies, from Madonna to Carly Rae Jepsen. They have their people, and that's who they listen to. Below that, coffee shop folk fan. Easy category here. This is somebody who, they got their iPod Touch. There's nothing harder than Elliott Smith on there. And you know what? That's fine. All my love to you. Below that, we have top 40 only. These are people who, by and large, do not seek out music. They do not want to expand their palette. Only what is presented in front of them. They might like it a lot. They may listen to it a lot. They may have a bunch of playlists. But it's top 40 only. Nothing else. Below that, only listens to video game music. Very specific kind of person. I have a feeling you know what I'm talking about. It's not something that can be explained. This is a vibe. This is a vibe. Also known as me, my freshman year of high school. Below that, he don't have internet. This person does not necessarily listen to music or engage with music or anything of the sort. Not out of maliciousness, not out of disliking the form or disliking art in general. They're not on this planet, and that's fine too. And then the final tier is artists for pussies. This is the same tier basically, except with maliciousness. This is somebody who actively is like a weirdo, like MRA type, who's just like, this is for fucking girls. Art's for girls. But I have collected an assortment of real-life people and fictional characters all here, and we are going to judge them. By we, I mean me, and my word here, for all intents and purposes, is law. Sorry, Nine Inch Nails fans. This really was the best I could do. Okay, we're not gonna have any order here. This is gonna be purely based off of vibes. You know what? And because of that, we're gonna start at the end. Mayoral candidate, Zohran Mamdani. New Yorkers who watch this show, get out there and vote for Zohran, in case you didn't know where this channel's politics stand. But Zohran Mamdani. See, to me, this one, a bit difficult. Because if you follow this guy's social media campaign, if you look at the dude, you hear him speak or anything, this is a guy who knows his music, right? And hell, I've seen viral videos of this man rapping before. It has happened. And he clearly has good taste in music. But the thing is, the most telling giveaway with Zohran here is that he's got a baddie. And you know what? That tells me everything. This guy's pretty well off. He's got a decent amount of money. He lives in New York and has a nice apartment there. So naturally, I know exactly where he is. I was tempted for a little while to put him in Hip Hop Head. Because, again, he gives hip hop enjoyer. He probably had some strong opinions about Kendrick and Drake. But I know. Collects but does not listen to vinyl. How do I know this? Simple. This is a man who owns a Miles Davis record. This is a man who owns a John Coltrane record. He probably owns NWA. He probably owns Public Enemy. He probably owns, and maybe like a little bit more current, he probably owns a Kendrick CD, maybe even Denzel Curry. I have faith there. But this man's a dedicated assemblyman. He's busy. He is constantly doing shit, showing up, organizing and all that. He doesn't have fucking time to listen to this vinyl, but he'll support artists. So you know what? I will generously hand him the title of collects, but does not listen to vinyl, which is not inherently derogatory, because sometimes you gotta go out there and organize, people, and then maybe come home, maybe then listen to it. Give yourself a break, bud. All right, next up, yeah, you know what? Let's just get this out of the way. The Jams and Tea Podcast. This is everybody who has ever been on this show, and let me tell you, there was only one place we could go. We all have Rate Your Music accounts. If you look back far enough, you can find us positively reviewing basically every single genre under the sun. We do not limit ourselves, but yeah, I mean, we don't have lives. Many know this. Okay, next up, we're going to switch away from the political for a moment. We're going to go with Tony Soprano from The Sopranos. And this also incredibly easy shit here, man. Boom. Has a Rate Your Music account. Now, see, you might be wondering, how could you possibly make this call, man? Tony Soprano? Have you listened to this dude talk about music? Any scene where he's talking to AJ about music, when he's listening to shit, you'd see the fucking trailer, the Many Saints in Newark, and dude is listening to records and like listening to the stereo and shit. Do not tell me this man does not know what's up. Now, he probably improperly tags everything. He probably does not have an organized system. But this man, he probably has a Discogs too, if we're being real. Once he gets a lot of money, I mean, he's got to spend it somewhere. Maybe he's buying old Santana records on Discogs. We've all been there. I know I have. Like literally I have. I bought Abraxas on Discogs. Santana Abraxas. After that, you know what? Get out of the way. Get Junior here. Well, not technically Junior, but AJ Soprano. Now, see, he is inheriting his father's passion. He loves music, but thing is, I do not think that AJ is getting on the internet. Not in this capacity, anyway. I'm putting him firmly in collects vinyl because, frankly, the way I interpret the end of The Sopranos is that Tony's dying. Those vinyl gotta go somewhere. That somewhere is AJ, and he listened to him with his father, so naturally, he's actually going to listen to them, which puts him a little bit above Zoran in this instance. Now, let's go Christian Bale Batman. This Bruce Wayne here, this is tough. This is tough because naturally you would think with Batman you would kind of incline him towards the more punk-oriented stuff, right? But nah, this man, he disappeared for his like early 20s and went and trained under Ra's al Ghul. Like this man, he did not have formative media taste. But at the same time, he is rich enough and has surrounded himself with enough rich people. He had to absorb a little bit. Ironically, I think this is what would make his taste and Patrick Bateman's taste basically near identical, is that I am going to argue here that Christian Bale Batman is top 40 only. You know, he knows enough to appear like a normal person, but beyond that, absolutely not. He does not have time. Like, he is either brooding, or technically he could be off overseas with his wife Anne Hathaway, with their children in Europe at the end of The Dark Knight Rises. But, you know, that he's a family man by this point. He's either a workaholic who's fighting for justice, or he's a family man. Either way, top 40, that's all he's got time for. And you know what? I don't judge. I really don't. But if we're going off of that Batman, we got to switch over to the other Batman. Batmen, really. We got our Pat's Batman. Easy shit here, man. This is the epitome of goth emo. Now, you could argue Nirvana in the trailer might qualify him for crust punk, and there's overlap there. But the thing is that this is the Cure ass fucking Batman I've ever seen. Like, he takes off the Batman mask. Look at him underneath. He's like handsome Squidward Robert Smith. He has to be here. Has to be. And you know what? I wouldn't limit him to just goth music. I would also say that he is the overlap between goth and emo. As a teenager, you're telling me this man didn't spin a little bit of early Panic at the Disco? You're telling me the R-Pats didn't get down to a fever you can't sweat out? I don't know if I believe that, you know? I know it when I see it. All right, final Batman, Michael Keaton Batman. Michael Keaton Batman, where are you going? So Michael Keaton Batman is interesting. He's an introvert. He's maybe the most insane of the Batmen that we've had so far, which part of me wants to think that that makes him qualify for he don't have internet. But then again, Bruce Wayne, like, he's gotta... You move him forward in time a little bit. I think this Michael Keaton Batman, I think he would still know enough, right? Like, maybe top 40, but that's the thing. It doesn't specifically cover his weirdness, I guess. Like, there's something about this guy that makes me think that he's not listening to the radio. He knows what's on it, but he's not listening to it. So you know what? I'm compromising here. Michael Keaton Batman only listens to video game music. Probably good video game music, mind you. But even if he's got to keep himself updated to get in some women's pants, this man is more Batman than he is Bruce Wayne at this point. And he doesn't have to impress anybody, but he also doesn't really have to expand his taste necessarily. So he's a bit stagnant, which is why he's bumping the soundtrack to Kingdom Hearts 2. And, like, again, I can't judge him, and neither can you. Okay, next. Okay, let's take it back to some real people here. Let's talk about President Abraham Lincoln. Now this is definitely tough. You know, Emancipation Proclamation, Gettysburg Address, unfortunately assassinated, but he oversaw the end of the Civil War. You want to say something good about old Honest Abe. But if you put him in modern day, what do we really think he's listening to? And that's the thing, though. Okay, this took me a moment, but I've got it. Abe Lincoln, we're doing country music fan, not racist. Man was born in my state, did a speech on him in 5th grade, but to me, I'm giving him the edge here, the positive edge, just because I think he would be down with my grandpa's taste in music, which firmly fell into the not racist country music for the most part. You know, this man's not listening to fucking Alan Jackson. This man's not listening to Morgan Wallen. This man is not listening to any of that shit. But the folk, the slave spirituals that eventually gave way to forming these genres here, that's the kind of shit he would have been listening to. Because, I mean, look, he lived in the bluegrass state, bluegrass music, and then he went to fucking, what, Illinois? Yeah, Illinois. Illinois is basically just Kentucky too. So, I feel like I can say with some measure of confidence that this would be, you know, he listens to shit with fiddles. Easy stuff. Okay, let's keep things modern for a moment, and let's go with Superman 2025 Lex Luthor. Part of me wants to say artists for pussies for this guy. Part of me really does. But I think if we learned one thing, this man's a born and bred hater, died in the wool hater. So naturally, he's hiding something. He has a deep envy for Superman. So part of me thinks that he is, in fact, punk. Because he's jealous. Classic techno-oligarch fascist who wants to claim counterculture for himself. So he is listening to all of the same shit that he thinks Superman will be listening to. Superman, as we know from the film, is punk rock. So Lex probably has, but like, really shitty taste in punk rock. Like, if Superman listens to The Clash, Lex Luthor listens to the Sex Pistols. Easy stuff. And on that note, where is the boy? 2025 Superman. This is easy. Same as the boy Lex. He's bumping the mighty Crabjoys. He said it himself. That said, based on what he does think is punk music, I'm starting to think that he might be listening to, like, the toughest thing in his iPod is like Green Day, like American Idiot, but like anything over that, you play this man 10 seconds of a Converge song and he will melt. That's the real kryptonite. Let's go Naruto Uzumaki. To me, easy stuff. He don't have internet. And it's not because the world of Naruto is devoid of internet necessarily. I'm saying that this man is so motivated to be the Hokage, he doesn't give a fuck. He simply does not give a fuck. Sasuke, on the other hand, that motherfucker is as goth as the day is long. So we know where he is. But Naruto, he don't have internet. He don't care. You could cancel this man, he would never know. And I've seen Naruto. Man deserves a cancellation because I don't like him. Okay, let's stick in the anime Lagoon? What? Frieren from Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. Watched this with my fiance a couple months ago. Fucking terrific show. This is tough. So you're an immortal elf, an immortal autistic savant elf. You've seen a bunch of your friends die. You're a little sad, but you still, the emotional processing part, we're still struggling with this. So in some respects, because of her incredibly slow development, we could think that maybe her emotional development has led her to stick towards music that skews a bit towards younger folk, which means, and if she's sad, that means Frieren goes in goth emo. Maybe doesn't appear as goth emo as something like, Arpats necessarily, but imagine for a moment, she discovers the music of The Cure, she's set for life. All that yearning, all that reminiscing, the moments of joy, the moments of sadness, you know what, she's covered. But also, she totally listens to pop punk. Like, it's definitely there. Walter White, aka Heisenberg. I think it's pretty well established that this man's music taste, spiritual boomer. Maybe literal boomer as well. I'm not really sure where the cutoff date for that is, but we have seen him and the music that he talks about and the music that he listens to on the radio in Breaking Bad. Do I even need to justify myself here? Back when he was a hippie, before, all of the events of the story even properly happened, this dude was, spinning vinyls of Led Zeppelin 3. Spiritual boomer. Let's do Sekina from JJK. Yeah, first entry into Artists for Pussies. I mean, this man is so unbelievably fucking nihilistic and just, he's a contrarian. He, even if he does listen to music, he would never admit it, and he would say that you're a pussy for listening to it. Common sense, really. Dale Gribble, King of the Hill. Now, some might say that even just because he's a King of the Hill character, you may want to lobby for country music fan racist, which proves to me you don't pay attention. Because Dale Gribble would never, ever listen to music that is supportive of the U.S. government in any way, shape, or form. This man has spent some time in the trenches in some libertarian forums on the internet. He has been exposed to music that, just the worst shit imaginable on God's internet. I just know he has. That being said, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Screw the haters. Dale Gribble is punk. Fight the system. This man listens to Rage Against the Machine. He may not always know what they're talking about, but he's got a pretty good idea. Heart's in the right place. Goku. Not to pigeonhole shonen protagonists, but this is pretty clear to me. He don't have internet. It's not happening. Goku just, these two characters, they are paragons of IDGAF. They just don't care. I don't even know if Goku can use a computer. Does he even know what a computer is? Let's be real. Now, let's switch back over to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Commonly considered one of the first, the progenitors of the Democratic Socialists, invented a lot of programs that helped the U.S. economy be prosperous after a time of great economic fallout. We could really use you for maybe a fifth please, like, fifth term, a fourth term, brother. Like, wait, did he do 4 terms? Shit. We could use another term from this fella, Again, I feel like... Now, let me explain. This man had to contend with a particular sect of the country that was against government aid and government assistance, and we all know what kind of folk they are. So naturally, I think FDR would gravitate towards the music that is the most critical of his ops, which thus is hip-hop. I don't know how good his taste would be. He probably really digs Aesop Rock and Open Mike Eagle. He, like, abstract, like something kind of left of the dial a little bit, You're not going to catch FDR listening to Travis Scott. Let's do another easy one, one that I barely even have to justify. This is Elliot Alderson from Mr. Robot. If you haven't seen Mr. Robot, well, will you listen to Jen and I? This is easy shit. Has a Rate Your Music account. We have seen the needle drops in this show, and we've seen the little booklet he has of fake CDs time and time again. Look through all of those albums. Dude's taste is immaculate. But at the same time, he's a fucking zillennial who's listening to Pink Floyd. There's no way this guy does not have a Rate Your Music account, or at least knows what it is. But he's got to have something. At the very least, he has an Excel sheet cataloging everything he's listened to. Not that I ever did anything like that. But, let's do another anime protagonist, because I want some variety here. Yeah, Monkey D. Luffy, One Piece. See, I think that you could make a solid argument for saying he could also belong in He Don't Have Internet. That being said, he has met too many characters from the wide world of One Piece that there's no way he doesn't pick up a little bit on his travels. So, Punk. I mean, look, the Straw Hats, they're about as anti-government as it gets. They've got, like, he needs to be listening to shit that is going to motivate him, that is gonna get his crew pumped the fuck up. And that's punk music. And you know what? I bet he's probably got the best taste in punk music of anybody here thus far. Does he know why? Does he know music theory? No. Head empty. But he feels it. He feels it in his bones. Alright, let's move to some of the originals here. I've got some characters from my books. We're going to go with one of our debatable leads of this story. We're going to go with Mr. Joey O'Boyle here. Joey, he's a loser. He is just... The thing about Joey is this. He's 5 years away from making a Rate Your Music account, but he's in high school. He's not quite there yet, and judging by how Those Who Dwell in the Dark even goes, who's to say if he has time for it? But as established within the story, that this man, he be listening to a lot of music. Like a lot of fucking music. And so I'm gonna say that while he listens to a lot of different stuff, primarily metalhead and or stoner, he's probably gonna have to start smoking a lot of weed after this story, because man, if you know anything about my books, Joey O'Boyle's got it fucking rough. He needs some time to just chill out, to relax, and not have to worry about anything, because this man is a bundle of raw nerves by the time the next part of the story comes out, which is soon, by the way. And let's bounce away from that, and let's go to Donnie Darko. So, dude is alive in 1988, lives in conservative, I believe it's Virginia, but like affluent, so like in the suburbs, which leads me to believe that Donnie probably does have, his angsty proclivities. You might want to suggest that he would go towards goth or emo, but I don't know, man. Just tell me to my face that somebody who has the Smurfette doesn't fuck speech in them. Here's the thing, he's gotta be a pop music stan. He's alive at like the heyday of artists like Madonna. You know, we still got Bowie doing some shit. Not everybody's liking it, but he's still out here to some extent. And, you know, Donnie's sheltered is the point, though. It's like he may be a kind of like a bit of a rebel, bit of a renegade, but his idea of what punk is so, he's so sheltered. It's like he listens to Madonna not because he thinks that Madonna's a good songwriter or performer, but because Madonna is really, really hot, and she had an album called Like a Virgin and Erotica, and he was like, yo, that's cool as fuck, lady pretty. So, you know, like, he thinks he's really cool for listening. Like, we all knew this guy who just thought he was the bee's knees, fucking sheltered as hell. Parents were probably coming from money. You know, thinks he's God's gift to you know, intellectual debate amongst high schoolers, the pinnacle of human intelligence, naturally. So I think his worldview is a bit skewed. All right, let's Frodo Baggins. This one's pretty easy for me. Coffee shop folk fan. Have you heard the shit they be playing in Hobbiton? This man is listening to music with acoustic guitars and fiddles and very little else. But you know what? He's content with it. It's all he knows. He went on his adventure. He came back, even though you can never really go back. Real ones. But he wants something that will comfort him, and that falls squarely into coffee shop folk. Again, we don't judge. George W. Bush. You know, it's a bit obvious, but country music fan racist, and here's why. After 9/11, the defining moment of Bush's first term, country music became widely unlistenable. It became this purely patriotic force, this purely, like, borderline sycophantically devoted to the United States government. It was a scourge. And in many ways, we are still recovering from the 9/11 of music. He doesn't, and the thing is that it's not like he even seeks it out. I don't think George Bush seeks out music that is racist. He just happens to have it fall in his lap because, you know, look at the company he keeps. While he is one of history's greatest monsters at this point, you know, it's not like he knows. It's mostly out of ignorance. He's kind of an idiot. So naturally, country music to him, it's not this schism, this bipartisanism. It's he simply just knows what it is and what's popular, and he listens to it. He is insanely close to being top 40 only, but I do think that just because of the cultural impact of his presidency, has to be racist country music. It just has to be. Let's see. Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. This could go many places, but I think we know goth emo. He's got the all black in Return of the Jedi, and you know, he's fighting against the darkness inside him, but you know, he lets it win a little bit there at the end, so he knows what it is to struggle. He does, you know, make it out on the other side, but this is an angsty motherfucker. You go through what he went through in Empire Strikes Back, you're gonna have some thoughts and feelings about it. He's probably gonna be listening to a little bit of Linkin Park, but nothing heavier than that. He's still kind of soft, which means to me, premier goth emo, which then begs the question. We have old Luke from The Last Jedi. And see, he's exiled, so you might be tempted to say he don't have internet, but I still feel like the Luke that came from Tatooine, like there's no way he didn't have, you know, you're a young, poor farm boy, you gotta have some tunes to make it through the shit. But he was on Tatooine, so the only stuff that's going to make it to Luke Skywalker is gonna be stuff that it makes it everywhere. So, you know, he wants the music of his past a little bit because he doesn't want to fully let go. So I'm saying, yeah, old man Luke, top 40 only. Things have gotten bad for him, don't get me wrong, but that's why he wants to keep in touch with his inner child. You know, like he's matured past the emo phase, but it's in him still. But that said, he wants, it's not the top 40 of the present, it's the top 40 of 40 years ago. See, that's how I'll make it make sense. Go back to politics for a moment, to the successor of George W. Let's talk about Barack Obama. Now, you see, technically, we know what Obama's music taste is because every year that little press release, whatever the fuck happens, and it shows you what Obama has been watching and listening to. And look, they're bullshit. They have to be bullshit. There is no fucking way that Barack Obama is listening to Blood Orange and Lucy Dacus. I just don't believe it. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have good taste in music. He clearly did. But those lists are curated by his daughters. I just know they are. That's the reason he knows about any of this shit. He probably, though, here's the thing. And I know that, people will decry this as potentially problematic. But the thing is that they're wrong, because Barack Obama is provably a hip-hop head. And I know you're going to say, oh, the only black president, you put him as a hip-hop head. Now, listen, man. He had Kendrick v. Drake opinions. He literally had them. Before the beef even truly started, he was asked in an interview who he preferred. Said he liked both, granted, but he did say he preferred Kendrick. And you know what? In his earlier days, like, he was a young dude in college. He was probably pulling Mad Tail. Like, let's be real. So he had to be listening to, what the youth are listening to. How do you do, fellow kids? Except he actually was a fellow kid. So he had to be listening to cool shit. Next up, literary icon Joe March, protagonist of Little Women. And there's no need to differentiate the book Joe March or even the Winona Ryder Joe March, because they are all very consistent characterizations of the same person. But, Joe is angsty, but she's pragmatic, She's adventurous, but to a point. She still wants to appreciate good classic comfort. But she's listening to, some of her sisters, they'll be listening to some trad wife core, you know what I mean? On the other hand, you have her, I think we gotta go coffee shop folk. She appreciates the lyricism, she listens to Bob Dylan and Joan Baez and oh hell, all you fascists bound to lose, Woody Guthrie, and stuff with a little bit of a political slant too, but nothing too extreme. Again, she's not bumping Rage Against the Machine out here, not exactly happening. Well, we did the Batman, let's do the Jokers. Joaquin Phoenix Joker, firmly in Art is for Pussies. Now, it's not like Arthur Fleck, the Joker, doesn't, he's a stand-up comic. And I feel like it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume that some music has crossed his path. But once he goes full Joker, nah, he don't care. This man is a nihilist through and fucking through. He does not give a fuck about music. He's not seeking shit out. Jack Nicholson Joker, on the other hand. This one, I know instantly. This has gotta be... collects but does not listen to vinyl. This dude has money... He has appreciation for the arts, probably got a really sick little crib, and he probably has a lot of vinyl in that crib because maybe he stole all of it from the vinyl store. That said, he is dedicated as the clown prince of crime, so you just gotta... He's busy. He's constantly on the move. He does not have time to listen to his copy of In a Silent Way, even though he does like it. He appreciates Miles Davis. Now, Heath Ledger Joker, this dude is anarchy embodied. Just purely chaotic neutral, in a sense. Maybe skewed a little bit more towards chaotic evil, but it's chaos it's without bias. Part of me wants to say that he might be in... You know what? Actually, nah, I'm right. He don't have internet. This man is a concept. I'm not even, he's a spirit. He doesn't technically exist. He has no real government name or anything. He cannot afford to have music because that would lead a trail back to him. He's invisible. He's Smoke. I don't know what Smoke listens to. Smoke doesn't listen to shit. All right. Hillary Rodham Clinton. Yeah, owns K-pop merch, for sure. Dedicated capitalist, Hillary Clinton. You know, yeah, but at the same time, she's for trade with other economies, not limited to Korea. So, you know, she's got, like, you know, she appreciates the poppiness. She would, you know, she wouldn't be out of place in top 40, but whatever is going to incentivize, like, you know, just the most consumption, the most, whatever the most capitalistic music is, that's what she listens to. Edward Elric, Full Metal Alchemist. Jen and I are in the midst of talking about this in our show. Ed definitely had a new atheism phase online, which means he probably would have been in a lot of the same spaces that, like, old hating ass Lex Luthor is in, that Dale Gribble is probably in, but at the same time, you know what? I know in my heart that this is true. Bleep bloop. This man, he's simple. Man of simple pleasures. But once he gets older, he's bumping some Aphex Twin, man. He is like one of the most traditionally, you know, autistic savant coded characters. He needs something to stimulate his brain because naturally, well, spoilers. I can't spoil it. I don't want to spoil something that happens to Jen, so I'll keep my mouth shut. But let's just say that Ed, by the end of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, you know, dude needs something to stimulate his brain a little bit. And I think that, you know, he probably really likes old Autechre. Like, everything through XI, that's his jam, man. Gone Freaks from Hunter x Hunter. You know, I'm starting to regret some of these anime characters because Gon is the most he don't have internet of all time. Even if the internet exists in Hunter x Hunter, he wouldn't know or care. Every question Gone Freaks will ever ask is, what is this thing and can I fight it? In many respects, he is Goku but a psychopathic child. And the funny thing is, if you haven't seen Hunter x Hunter, you're probably like, ahaha, he's making a joke about how he's a psychopath. Boy howdy, you've got a storm coming. And on that note, let's talk about his best buddy, his life partner, Killua. This is easy. Easy. The fucking Sasuke of Hunter x Hunter. This dude listens to a lot of punk. He's a rebel, he's rebellious little upstart within his own family. He probably doesn't have the best taste in it, if we're being real, but then again, if you're a punk, you probably have shit taste. I'm a punk, I have shit taste. He probably, you know, again, it's based on what he could get a hold of, considering his father's iron grip on his family unit. I have a feeling that it was a lot of effort to sneak anything past that scary man, but when he could, that would be what he was listening to. Now, Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. Jazz is not technically a category here, so I'm going to put him in the category that would be most often associated with jazz heads, and that would be collects but does not listen to vinyl. He's just too busy, too. He's got to make that bread. Doesn't have time. Maybe he'll put on a record, you know, he'll put on some fucking Alice Coltrane when he's doing like a workout routine or something, but like it's background noise. He doesn't actively engage with the music anymore. He's too tortured for that, too haunted by his past. Oh shit, I forgot about Jared Leto's Joker, which was probably an attempt on my brain to save me the trouble. So I appreciate that, brain. This is tough. Again, you might think art is for pussies, but the thing is that he screams terrible Machine Gun Kelly music video so loudly. I gotta put him in top 40 only. He listens to music. He listens to like Heathens by 21 Pilots. He's precisely that level of try hard. Like, he thinks he's edgy, but again, he's, you know, soft as a fucking blanket. Like, it's the other two members of this tier, you know, they were top 40 complimentary. This is top 40 derogatory. Okay, Jesse Pinkman of Breaking Bad. Now, Jesse, you could have opinions about, like, you know, based on the type of guy he is, based on the company he keeps, based on, you know, his level of education. But here's the thing. He was talking to his brother about Jethro Tull. Jesse Pinkman, he has a Rate Your Music account. I simply do not buy any other explanation for this man's music taste. He spent however many years out of high school getting stoned off his ass. He had to be doing something. And you know what? He had so many friends, they probably gave him some terrible hip-hop mixtapes, and that just led him down a rabbit hole. I'm sure that he started up a new account after El Camino, and he started logging everything, and maybe he's just going to take some time to himself and explore some music that he never got to. Maybe that's how he's occupying his time after the story. I'd like to think so. I want Jesse to have a nice little happy ending. So he has a Rate Your Music account, but, you know, he's not writing reviews. It's purely for the sake of cataloging. All right, T'Challa from Black Panther. Now, you see, this is difficult because this movie has a soundtrack. So you would think, like, oh, the people from the soundtrack, that's T'Challa's taste. But the thing is that he lives in Wakanda, which is like an isolationist empire. So, like, what music makes it there? Like, I have no doubt that Shuri was on LimeWire downloading anything she could get a hold of. So basically, that to me means that there was no, like, maybe some people in Wakanda were fucking with really popular music over the years, but to me, I don't know. I feel like they would be, like, they probably, like, they're so, like, beyond the pale, like, super Afrofuturist that they probably had their own fucking equivalent of pop stars and pop music that the outside world never got a chance to listen to. That said, Shuri would be how he would know about music on the outside. They would share it. I totally, like T'Challa, he had a Walkman maybe. She got a hold of it for him. Maybe she built it for him. That actually makes a whole lot of sense. So it would have to be, he would vicariously experience through her. I think that means, you know, I was going to make a joke and say that we should put him in Owns K-pop merch because Shuri totally would listen to K-pop. But in good conscience, I cannot put Chadwick Boseman and Hillary Clinton into the same tier. I can't do that. However, you know what? Both T'Challa and Shuri are making it in the top 40 only, but, like, complimentary. As in, they get the good shit. Maybe, in some sort of weird time loop thing, they would be listening to All the Stars, even though All the Stars exists for the Black Panther soundtrack. Who knows? Next, let's go back to anime for a sec. Let's talk Gojo from JJK. See, part of me is like, he could also slip into the archetypical, he don't have internet. But the thing is that I don't buy that Gojo doesn't have chill time where he's listening to shit. Like, I feel like Gojo is out here bumping, like, Nujabes, for example. So you know what? I think we all know, deep in our hearts, he's a hip-hop head. For sure. Has to be. Man loves Denzel Curry. Loves Denzel Curry. I know it. I just know. More political figures. President Ronald Reagan, aka the reason most things in this country suck. I mean, look, it's easy, and it might be expected, but country music fan racist. Dude started off doing westerns in Hollywood. There's just no way that this guy does not listen to... And again, it's kind of like George Bush. I don't know if he's necessarily intelligent enough to be able to delineate racist country music from not racist country music. And he's a Republican, so he probably thinks that that's one and the same. So, you know what? No, I'm not feeling it bad. And, you know, by contrast, let's do Richard M. Nixon. The other, in fact, okay, Ronald Reagan, the reason that everything sucks domestically. Nixon, the reason everything sucks foreign. The thing is that you gotta understand about Richard Nixon is that man is a born hater. Like many other people on this tier list. But this dude, like many of, again, history's greatest monsters, he was spurred on by the fact that he didn't get invited to like a special club. Like, you know, Hitler didn't make it into art school. Fuck you. Donald Trump got shit talked by Obama one time at a White House dinner, and, you know, now we have that. This man, like, wasn't invited to some fucking club in college, and then that he made it his entire fucking personality. Yeah, he don't have internet. I can't fathom this man listening to anything. This man's Spotify account, you know, he created it and then, like, left it alone. He was just like, what is this garbage? The only thing this man is listening to are the Watergate tapes. I got nothing. Jon Snow from HBO's Game of Thrones. My, how the mighty have fallen. Jon Snow, classic antisocial dork. At the start of Game of Thrones, yeah, this is easy. He only listens to video game music. There's just no way. He was the bastard son. He was ostracized. So naturally, he did not pick up on the listening habits of the common folk. So instead, he played video games. But he really liked the tunes. So you know what? He's probably listening to some Koji Kondo. He's probably listening to some fucking, you know, maybe he got a little bit more adventurous and he listens to like the Persona soundtrack these days. But this man, he only listens to video game music, and he's also so much of a, like, again, so antisocial that he doesn't know that that's weird. Let's go back to Those Who Dwell in the Dark for a bit. Nadia. Nadia is easy. Nadia is also a metalhead. But really more classic rock, but Nadia loves Black Sabbath. Like, she, like, constantly talks about it, constantly wears Black Sabbath graphic tees. It's easy shit. Easy stuff here. She's a punk, but she's also, she's old school as hell. And, you know, if we're gonna do her, let's do her girlfriend. Let's do Izzy. My OTP, the cutest damn couple. Love them to bits. Izzy, I love her to death. She's probably my favorite character of the Those Who Dwell in the Dark gang. For those of you who don't know, I write books. I've written a lot of them. Might have a new one coming out soon. But Izzy, she loves her some music, but she is most definitely a pop music stan. She can get down to things that are heavier than that, but, you know, she's listening to Carly Rae Jepsen in the car. She might listen to something like Johnny Mitchell, but even then, I feel like that she's still way more pop music stan than copy shop folk, like, just in terms of weighing those two against each other. Zenitsu from Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer's solid show, fun show, beautiful show. Zenitsu sucks. I fucking hate this little pervert. Like, I hate the pervert character archetype. They're annoying. He cries all the time. The bat, like, everything about him is a trope, so I don't care for this man. Oh no. But yeah, Zenitsu, I fuck this guy. You know, yeah, Zenitsu only listens to video game music. Yeah, he's head empty with this dumb little shit, but not that has anything to do with this, but I have a feeling that this dude, if you transported him into modern day, he would be bumping maybe Super Mario Epic version, like, you know, like orchestral arrangements of 8-bit games and shit. Like, I have no faith in this man's taste whatsoever. Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch from the MCU. This is tough. You know, based off of WandaVision, it's unexpected, but she's old school. We have a lot of old school media that's involved with Wanda. So you know what? Spiritual boomer. I have a feeling that she likes the music of, like, the 50s and 60s and shit. Like, she vibes to, like, Phil Spector, like the Ronettes, that kind of shit. And, like, specifically the MCU version, I mean. Like, and she does not project music fan, necessarily, but the music that she does listen to, again, it feels like she's one of them old souls. You know, if your inner psyche looks like the Andy Griffith Show or I Love Lucy, that tells me your frame of reference is squarely rooted in the past. Mr. Robot for Mr. Robot. Christian Slater himself. If you want to get technical about things, this is technically could be one of two characters in this show. Go watch it to know what that means. You know, he had to get his music taste from somewhere. And based off what we see of Elliot and Darlene's mom, it was not their mom. So to me, this means that, you know, Elliot got all of his cool music taste from basically his hippie dad, which I think puts him in collects vinyl. And you know what? Probably does listen to it too. Because he's got the electronics store and all that, and he's got his kids, but I feel in my soul that this man owns a couple Springsteen vinyls. And maybe a couple newer ones too. Like, he probably was really into Kid A when it came out, even though he was like pushing 40 when it did. You know what I mean? But like, he's close. The only reason he doesn't have a Rate Your Music account is because he didn't like live long enough to see the site's heyday. Well, naturally, we got to do Gandalf the Grey. Gandalf the Grey, he's chill. He's a hippie. But most importantly, he smokes weed. Like, canonically smokes weed. So this man, he's a metalhead stoner. He listens to Sleep. You know, he thinks Dope Smoker is the best album ever. And who are we to tell him that he's wrong? Alright, protagonist of Taxi Driver, Travis Bickle. See, this type of antisocial behavior in this dude, like, maybe at one point Travis Bickle listened to music, but at this, I mean, granted, this movie does not end well for him, but like, post-transformation Travis Bickle, he don't have internet. I don't necessarily think he would look down on people for listening to music or engaging with art quite like these two folk would, but he doesn't really give a fuck. Like, he's taken fucking Sybil Shepherd, is that who that was? You know, he's taking dates to porno theaters. He doesn't know shit about shit. Let's go, alright, Chris from Those Who Dwell in the Dark. Easy. First conversation in this story is about Metallica, and it is spurred on by him. He is a metalhead. He listens to basically nothing but 80s thrash. That is his bread and butter. More political figures. Former President Joseph Robinette Biden. Again, a bit of an easy call, but honestly, say what you will about the man. And granted, I don't have many nice things to say, but Biden, he strikes me as the kind of boring liberal that, you know, really, really fucks with, like, Tom Petty. Like, that's probably the coolest thing that he likes. Like, you know, good on you for beating cancer, man, but also, like, what the fuck were those last 4 years, huh? And you know what? If we're gonna do that, then I'm gonna... Let's round out these folk. AOC, which is tough. See, because of where I put Zoran, I'm tempted to put her in the same place. But at the same time, like, just because her and the squad are so tapped into social media, I'm gonna make a guess. I'm gonna say she's a pop music stan. I think if you asked her about her favorite music, you know, she was probably listening to a lot of Madonna in her bartending days. She was probably getting down with a lot of Janet Jackson. She was probably like, you know, she's probably well acquainted with the classics, but some stuff that also is enough forward in the future to know that she still does have pretty good taste. And may as well do the GOAT, Bernie Sanders. See, this is also difficult. I'm gonna say Bernie gives liking good boomer rock. He's a spiritual / literal boomer. He marched with Dr. King. I feel like he knew enough people back when he was younger to have good taste in music, have people point to what the good shit is. He strikes me as a dude who was on a lot of college campuses, probably did smoke a whole lot of weed, and so he knew the right people. I'm guessing he knew the right people, and that's probably where his music taste is rooted in. I think that if you made Bernie Sanders listen to like a Nine Inch Nails song, he would crumble into dust. So please don't anybody make him listen to that shit. We kind of still need this dude. We need him for a while. But now we got that out of the way, let's do Daenerys Targaryen, Game of Thrones. Grows up very sheltered, you know, very, you could say sheltered in a word, but then goes on to have her own kingdom. But the thing is that I don't believe that she ever would have had time. You know, she's a liberator and what have you, and then a fascist. Thanks. I'm gonna say she listens to music, but nothing outside the top 40. Nothing that doesn't get thrust in front of her. Agent Dom DePero from Mr. Robot, just one of the hottest characters of all time. And we know that she is gay as hell, and basically like everything we can tell about her from her music taste, her morning routine was needle dropped to The Highwayman by Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, and whoever the fuck else was in that band that I can't remember at this given moment. But yeah, she listens to country music, but it is not of the racist variety. She's old school. She's got kind of boomer inclinations, but I feel that that's where her heart lies. I think this might be the last of the anime full-blown protagonist, Ichigo Kurosaki. Easy Punk. Dude, like literally the first thing he does is beat a bunch of kids' asses who are disrespecting a little girl's grave. This man is so unbelievably altruistic, but also just kind of a little shit about things sometimes. He is the archetypical punk. And thus, that's where he's going. Now, Kurapika from Hunter x Hunter, which, you know, I think I gotta put him in He Don't Have Internet. He's too busy getting vengeance, man. He does not have time for anything else. He's hunting down the Phantom Troop, he's killing the spiders, you know, and like to a degree that would be, you know, considered a bit unhealthy. His quest for revenge is a bit, he goes a bit off the deep end, one might say. But I just don't believe that this man has any room in his life for anything other than vengeance. Let's do another Those Who Dwell character. Indulge me a little bit. Lewis. Lewis is a new character. Y'all don't know him yet, but he only listens to video game music. This is what happens when you are frozen in stasis for spoiler amount of years. It's just pure stimulation. He doesn't care. He probably didn't even play the video games they were from. Maybe got it secondhand from somebody else, but he's a weirdo. He doesn't know which way is up, but he's well-meaning. But this man is definitely listening to shit like he's definitely listening to a couple of Nobuo Uematsu soundtracks. And you know what? Good on him. Hank Hill. Yeah, this is the category that he was meant for. Country music, not racist. You know, he still probably listens to some more patriotic stuff, which might lean in the other direction, but Hank Hill, white bread, lower C conservative guy, like, but you know, tolerant and respectful, and generally speaking, like he's what they would call socially liberal, perhaps. But nah, he knows the good stuff. But anything beyond that, it's all toilet sounds. Poe Dameron from the new Star Wars. Call it a gut feeling, but this man's dedicated to his cause, so he's a lot better than these two. But I think he thinks art's for pussies. He's got, you know, a squadron to command. He doesn't have time for this. Like, he maybe one day, once the war is over and he settles down with a nice lady, he'll get a little bit more into it. But as is, when he's combating the First Order, nah. Let's go another Those Who Dwell character. Let's go with Leo. Leo he doesn't know he's a hipster yet, but he's a hipster. Weird wardrobe, but the thing is that above all else, Leo listens to a little bit of everything, but he is a white-ass hip-hop head. He does definitely listen to LP. Like, he loves him some Run the Jewels. No explanation further necessary. Tyler Durden. Initially, you would think, oh, well, like, Joaquin Phoenix is Joker, and, like, or the other Joker, so, like, maybe he don't have internet, maybe art is for pussies. Thing is, though, we are forgetting a key foundational element of Tyler Durden, in that he is gay as fuck. Fight Club, gay as fuck. Chuck Palahniuk, gay as fuck. This dude is gay. He is a pop music stan. Whether or not he wants to admit it, that's his prerogative. But this man, he listens to Cher. Maybe not now, but 10 years from now, that'll be all he listens to. Finn from the new Star Wars films. Well, he lived under sort of imperial subjugation. He was a stormtrooper. Now he is a member of the Resistance. So he's being introduced to stuff. Basically, the people around him got to give him music. Which means he's not getting shit from Poe, because Poe don't got time for that. Which means he's probably got to go in the same category as Rey, because that's they're good chums, they're good pals. But she is in many respects just as sheltered as he is. That means that they both probably have exposure to whatever is the most popular music in the galaxy, meaning top 40 only, not by choice necessarily, but he and Rey, that's all they get, but that's all they need, man. Last real life person on here, former Vice President Kamala Harris. Kamala, she just doesn't give me much. Like, there's just not really a vibe to pick up on, I suppose? Because I feel like he don't have internet is clearly wrong. Because she definitely does. She's, like, unfortunately one of the younger U.S. presidential nominees we've had in a while, even though I'm pretty sure she's 60. Which means, her taste is definitely going to be rooted in the past, but I feel like Spiritual Boomer doesn't get the job done either. I feel like she probably does have a little bit more wide-ranging music taste, Yeah, now that you mention it, I think Kamala, she probably does collect vinyl, but probably does not listen. I just don't see it happening. She obviously been very busy. She's on a book tour now though, but she does not strike me as the type to necessarily have a lot of free time on her hands to begin with, but she probably does have solid taste in music. Got a lot of those Who Dwell people left. I didn't want to spoil myself out of the gate, I guess. On the right here, Thanatos, the villain, the main villain of the second arc of the story of Children of the Grave. Here's the thing. Initially, you want to say Thanatos is he don't have internet. Even though, notably, Thanatos is incredibly they, them. However, this demon, Thanatos, has killed more humans than any other character in the demonic faction in my story. Like, literal mass murderer at this point. Has killed demons, has killed humans, and the hunters, they are humans that come from, they have killed basically humans that have lived at any point throughout the last 400 years. So that being said, in my story, demons, when they eat people's brains, they gain all of their memories. So that means that every person they've killed in a more recent context is a part of their brain forever. So they have absorbed all of the music tastes of the people that they've murdered. Which to me can only mean one thing. Thanatos has a rate your music account. Because after that many people, it's just the law of averages. You have to be able to, once you have basically, you have a lifetime's worth, several lifetimes worth of memories of listening to music. So, of course, this didn't even take long. They could have killed 5 random people in the modern day, and they probably would have earned this. But they have killed thousands. So, naturally, it's the top. They have to be there. This fuck from Demon Slayer, he don't have internet. He don't have internet. He don't want internet. He's borderline feral. Inosuke? Is that his name? Yeah, probably. Skylar White. Yo. She's a working mother. She helps run a business. Helps run a couple of businesses. So to me, I'm going to say top 40 only. It's not like it's, I don't blame her for not having more free time. But she is definitely the type, she loves Pink. She loves Pink. She loved early Katy Perry. Again, prove me wrong here. Those Who Dwell. New character here whose name I cannot spoil, but this is going to be the further series antagonist, and they are a demon also. However, they have not killed any humans until the very start of the story. So I don't think that they're quite that like they're eligible for Rate Your Music account like Thanatos would be. I think that this is probably he don't have internet because Twilight Realm is a different world. That's where they were born. That's where they grew up. Give it a couple of years, maybe depending on how the events of Those Who Dwell in the Dark go, maybe she'll eat a couple people and then get better music taste. Because I have just revealed that that is canonically possible. Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service, coffee shop folk fan. I mean, she basically lives in a place that conceivably would have someone playing outside, like some sort of troubadour of some kind, but something soft, something worldly. Kiki, she needs a lot of low stim stuff. She's got a lot going on internally. She's doing DoorDash. She's running a business, but times are tough. She needs something that'll help mellow her out. And you know what? I can't blame her. Victoria from Those Who Dwell in the Dark. Victoria is canonically about, I think, 170 years old, but was made immortal around the age of 16 or 17. So she is that way eternally, but she basically grew up without music. But she is the mentor to the main group of kids in Those Who Dwell in the Dark. So their music taste rubs off on her fast because they're all dork-ass losers who listen to music. So she's got a little bit of everything, which means to me, yeah, I think she's got to be pop music stan. Everybody loves pop music enough to the point where this would just be a kind of net total of positivity from the group around her. And then she would also like pick up on like pop girly lore and shit from people like Izzy. So yeah. Next. Wow, I saved a bunch of Lord of the Rings characters for last two. Saruman. Listen. Don't ask me why. He owns K-pop merch. I'm leaving it at that. If you know, you know. Got some Marvel folk here. Iron Man. Tony Stark. Yeah. Tony Stark. Absolutely bleep bloop. This man loves him some ambient techno. This dude got super into Sweet Trip when they dropped the Velocity Design Comfort. And you know what, Tony Stark? He probably was torrenting like a madman. And he obviously had the resources to be able to buy whatever he want. So naturally, when you start listening to a little bit of everything, you start going to you have more fringe taste. You're inevitably going to arrive at like he needs stuff to listen to while he's either on a plane sleeping to go to a business conference or like building engineering some shit. He's got to have something to listen to, something to massage his brain a little bit. And, I would just like to believe that he was listening to I Care Because You Do inside the Iron Man suit. It would just bring me a lot of joy to know that that was what was going on there. Doctor Strange is kind of similar to Tony Stark in a lot of ways. Because, he's clearly wealthy, a lot of money, but, he's got this real, lust for intelligence and success and stuff. I have a feeling that this man has a lot of vinyl that he does not listen to. And he's a superhero now, so he doesn't have time for any of that shit. Next, we have Galadriel from Lord of the Rings. Galadriel, she's cool, she's ethereal, but also she's got a dark side to her. I feel like that dark side had to come from somewhere, which means to me, she's goth. She may not look it, but she had a phase. She had dyed black hair at one point. Maybe she was ostracized from the other elves. And you know what? Let's do our last Lord of the Rings. We got Gandalf the White. So, he's straight edge now. No longer is Gandalf a stoner. So I think, honestly, it's probably crust punk. Because, he's still kind of a revolutionary figure in some respect. He's gonna vibe with, rocking the establishment boat. I get it. I feel it. Let's do Nova from Those Who Dwell. Yeah, Nova is the only character in Those Who Dwell in the Dark's main cast who I think I could like reasonably put in top 40. Like just very sheltered childhood, but also like they were really into Hamilton. I feel like that says it all. Steve Rogers. Now you see, Steve Rogers does get unthawed into the modern day, and he does use the internet. He talks about it in The Winter Soldier. He makes a joke about it. So honestly, he don't have internet. I feel like just doesn't apply here. But at the same time, he's busy. He's constantly going places. I don't know how much time he's got for music or just legitimate interest. But he does strike me as a sentimentalist, which means I think Steve Rogers owns vinyl, but does not listen to it. And the reason I think this, I mean, it's connecting with his past. He owns probably like Nat King Cole and like Nina Simone vinyl. Old stuff that he bought at like a used record store for the nostalgia of it. But he doesn't have time for that shit. Reese from Those Who Dwell in the Dark. Joey's best friend, kind of the class clown. And yeah, Reese has a Rate Your Music account, for sure. In fact, Reese is, for those of you who are in the know, Reese is largely in the first arc of the story based off of my friend Morgan. He is how I got most of my music taste, but he was on Sputnik Music. So you know what? Maybe he deserves his own tier form of a Sputnik Music account. I'm going to do it. Sputnik Music account. Reese at the top, where he belongs. Chad. Kylo Ren. I guess this kind of depends on which movie, but just overall, come on. This man is goth, emo as fuck. Probably into some heavier shit. Like, I have a feeling that My Chem probably is not quite his speed, but like a little heavier than that. Like, he probably fucks with like Bauhaus. He probably fucks with like Dead Can Dance. I feel that in my soul. I'm so sorry I made this. I regret it deeply. Yeah,